यशोमतिनन्दन व्रजवरनागर गोकुलरञ्जन कान यशोमतिनन्दन व्रजवर
Hare Krishna to all the devotees there at Scarborough. Please accept my humble obeisances. Vancha kalpatarubhayascha kripa sindhubhaivacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Ananta koti Vaishnav vrinda ki jai. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. ISKCON Vartaman Guru vrinda ki jai. His Holiness Jayapataka Swami Guru Maharaj ki jai. Hare Krishna. So we'll just offer our prayers to Baladevji and then we'll begin today's session. Namaste tu halagrama, Namaste Musalayudha, Namaste Revati Kanta, Namaste Bhaktavatsala. Krishna Balaram Ji ki jai. Hare Krishna. So I thought we'll start the class today with a verse from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 1, verse number 20. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Kritavan kila karmani saharamena keshava Ati Martyani Bhagavan Gudaka Kapatamanusha. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Lord Shri Krishna, the personality of Godhead, along with Balaram, played like a human being, and so masked, he performed many superhuman acts. The doctrines of anthropomorphism and zoomorphism are never applicable to Sri Krishna or the personality of Godhead. The theory that a man becomes God by dint of penance and austerities is very much rampant nowadays, especially in India. Since Lord Rama, Lord Krishna, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu were detected by the sages and saints to be personality of Godhead as indicated in the revealed scriptures. Many unscrupulous men have created their own incarnations. This process of concocting an incarnation of God has become an ordinary business, especially in Bengal. Any popular personality with a few traits of mystic powers will display some feat of jugglery and easily become an incarnation of Godhead by popular vote. Lord Shri Krishna was not that type of incarnation. He was actually the personality of Godhead from the very beginning of his appearance. He appeared before his so-called mother as four-armed Vishnu, and then at the request of the mother, he became a human child and at once left her for another devotee at Gokula, where he was accepted as son of Nanda Maharaj and Yashoda Mata. Similarly, Baladev, the counterpart of Lord Shri Krishna, was also considered a human child born of another wife of Vasudev. In Bhagavad Gita, the Lord says that his births and deeds are transcendental, and that anyone who is so fortunate as to know the transcendental nature of his birth and deeds will at once become liberated and eligible to return to the kingdom of God. So, knowledge of transcendental nature of the birth and deed of Lord Shri Krishna is sufficient for liberation. In the Bhagavatam, the transcendental nature of the Lord is described in 9 cantos, and in the 10th canto, his specific pastimes are taken up. All this becomes known as once reading of this literature progresses. It's important to note here, however, that the Lord exhibited his divinity even from the lap of his mother, that his deeds are all superhuman. He lifted Govardhan Hill at the age of 7, and that all these acts definitely prove him to be actually the supreme personality of Godhead. Yet, due to his mystic covering, he was always accepted as an ordinary human child by his so-called father and mother and other relatives. Whenever some Herculean task was performed by him, the father and mother took it otherwise, and they remained satisfied with unflinching filial love for their son. As such, the sages of Naimisharanya described him as apparently resembling a human being, but actually he is the supreme almighty personality of Godhead. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Mukham karoti vachalam pungum langayate giram yat kripatamaham bande Shri Guru Dinataranam Paramananda Madhavam Krishna Chaitanya Ishwaram. Hare Krishna. So happy Balaram Jayanti to all of you. Today is a very, very auspicious day. We are celebrating Balaram Purnima, Balaram Jayanti. Today is the appearance day of Lord Sri Balaram. So as we read in this verse from Srimad Bhagavatam, both Lord Sri Krishna and Balaram are one and the same, and they appear masked as a superhuman, but they are the supreme personality of Godhead. So especially there is a confusion whether Balaram is an expansion, or is he Amsha of Krishna or Kala of Krishna. But here it is clarified that he is Krishna. There is no difference between Balaram and Krishna. Elsewhere in Chaitanya Charitamritam also it's mentioned, Sarvavatari Krishna Swayama Bhagavan Tanhara Dvitiya Deha Shri Balaram. They said Balaram is simply a second body of the Lord. There is no difference actually between Krishna and Balaram. Krishna is the fountainhead of all incarnations and Balaram is his second body. And then elsewhere it says, Ekai Swarupa Donho Bhinna Matra Kai Adya Kaya Vyuha Krishna Leelara Sahai. Why does Balaram appear? Leelara Sahai. Just to give pleasure to the Lord, just to support his leelas and pastimes, Balaram appears. So Balaram is non-different from Krishna. They both are one and the same. The only thing they differ is in the color, in the form. So here the Vaishnavacharyas say that Krishna, he is Swayam Rupa. There are so many incarnations that Krishna takes, but Krishna by himself, he is Ete Chamsha, Kalapungsha Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. He is Bhagavan himself. And his Swayam Rupa, there are two divisions. One is a Prabhava Prakash and one is a Vaibhava Prakash. So Prabhava Prakash is when Krishna expands himself identical, when he's identical in his expansion in form and bhava. For example, during Rasa Leela, when Krishna expands himself, his expansions are exactly identical to him. They just look like him, talk like him, nose, eyes, everything is like him. So in the Rasa Leela, all the gopis feel that Krishna is dancing with us. Like we see in Dwaraka, when Krishna expands into 16,108 forms, all the queens are enjoying the association of Krishna. So that is Prabhava Prakash. So there is no difference in the emotion, feelings, and no difference in the form, the way he looks. But there's another form coming out of a Swayam Rupa Krishna division, and that is called Vaibhava Prakash, where he is same but he looks different. So that is Balaramji. So Balaramji and Krishna are same, but Balaramji looks different from Krishna, but actually they are same. So this is what is mentioned here in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. So Balaramji is Adi Guru. Balaramji and Krishna are one and the same, but the only difference, Prabhupada said that, is that Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead and Balaramji is the supreme personality of servitor Godhead. So that means Krishna accepts service. When he appears in this material world, he appears to accept service. And when Balaramji appears in this material world, he comes here to offer service. So that's the only difference between both of them. And then of course in the form, the color, the way they look is different. And little differences like Balaramji may be wearing a blue color dhoti and Krishna wears a yellow color dhoti. Balaramji carries a buffalo horn and Krishna carries flute, and Krishna wears peacock feather and Balaramji does not wear a peacock feather. So like that there may be little differences, but otherwise they are one and the same. So actually this difference between Balaram and Krishna was a big matter of controversy once in Vrindavan, when Srila Prabhupada's disciple Yamuna Mataji and Madhudvisha Prabhu were having a argument where Yamuna Mataji was saying that the only difference between Krishna and Balaram is that Balaramji does not enjoy with Radharani, Krishna enjoys with Radharani. And Madhudvisha Prabhu said that whereas I feel that the only difference between Krishna and Balaram is that Krishna is black in color and Balaramji is white in color. So they both went to Tamal Krishna Maharaj. And then Tamal Krishna Maharaj went to Srila Prabhupada and he asked for a solution. He said, Prabhupada, Yamuna Mataji says that Krishna has Radharani to enjoy, Balaram does not. So Prabhupada said, yes, she is right. And then Tamal Krishna Maharaj said, but Madhudvishwa Prabhu says the only difference between Krishna and Balaram is that Krishna is black and Balaram is white. And Prabhupada said, yes, he's right. Then Tamal Krishna Maharaj said, but Prabhupada, how can both be right? And then Prabhupada said, yes, you are right. And then Tamal Krishna Maharaj said, but Prabhupada, what is right? And then Prabhupada said, well, that you decide. That you decide. So there is basically no difference between Balramji and Krishna, but only thing in this form, Krishna, because he's Adi Guru, he just shows us how to serve. Actually, Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and he needs to be served in the best way possible. And we, being limited, would not understand how to serve him in the best way possible. So Krishna again himself has to come and show us how to serve him in the best way possible. So that's how he comes like Balaramji, and then he shows us what's the best way to serve him. So today is more important than Janmashtami, because if we don't have the mercy of Balaramji, then we can't approach Krishna. If we don't have the mercy of Adi Guru, Balaramji, then we cannot approach Krishna. We cannot receive Krishna's mercy. We see that Balaramji, he appears in the Treta Yuga as Lakshman, and then in the Kali Yuga he appears as Nityananda. And in all the leelas that they perform, we see how any devotee who wants to approach the Supreme Lord has to approach via them only. Like we see this very famous pastime in Ramayana, how Sugriva seeks help from Lord Ram, that when I'm fighting with my brother, can you kill my brother? Can you help me? So Ramji says, yes, I'm ready to help you. So Lord Ram is standing behind a tree, and then Sugriva challenges his brother Vali, and both of them are having a fight, wrestling each other, and they are kicking and beating each other. And Vali, being more strong, and he just smashes Sugriva, and Lord Ram isn't doing anything, he's simply standing behind the tree. And then after the day's fighting is over, Sugriva comes back and says, is this fair? You promised me that you will help me, and you never helped me. Why didn't you kill my brother? So then Ramji says, but both of you are twin brothers. I could never recognize. So I didn't want to by mistake kill you. So I was just waiting. I'm just trying to figure out who is Sugriva and who is Vali. Then what Lakshman does is immediately Lakshman has a garland on his neck, and he takes this garland, he puts it around Sugriva, and he says, okay, now you go and fight. Now Ramji will know who is Sugriva and who is Vali. Sugriva is one with the garland, so now he'll kill Vali. So we understand by these small little gestures that how until and unless he got the mercy of Lakshmanji, Lord Ram was not willing to help him. So it's so important to approach Krishna via Guru, via Balaramji. Even in the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu Leela, we see how Raghunath Das Goswami wanted to take shelter of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, but he was not successful every time that he tried. But finally, when he got the mercy of Nityananda Prabhu, then he got shelter of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu at Jagannath Puri. And even in the Krishna Leela, we see that Devaki had the fortune of being a mother to Lord Shri Krishna only by the blessings of Balaram. When Balaram appeared in her womb and made the womb ready for Krishna to appear, only then Krishna came. So in anybody's life, Krishna will enter only after Guru's entry. So first Guru enters in our life, and he makes Krishna accessible to us. He makes us able to receive Krishna, and he makes that connection, and only then our spiritual journey begins. So here also we see that how Balaramji, he came, and also Balaramji wanted to make the womb clean, because it was habited, even though for a short period of time, by asuras. there is this beautiful pastime of all these 6 children of Devaki, how they were asuras. They're also known as the Shatagarbha asuras. All these 6 children, in their previous life, they were all sons of Marichi. Marichi is the Manas Putra of Brahmaji. And the 6 children were so notorious and they were so disrespectful to Brahmaji that Brahmaji said that go and be born as demons. So they were all born as son of Kalanemi. And who was Kalanemi? Kalanemi was son of Hiranyaksha. So the famous Dio, Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu. So Hiranyaksha's son was Kalanemi, and Kalanemi had the 6 sons of Marichi as his own sons. But here also, they could not give up their notorious behavior and they insulted Hiranyakashipu. And then again Hiranyakashipu cursed him. He said, you have been so disrespectful. In next life, you will be killed by your own father. He curses them. So that's how these 6 sons of Kalanemi are born as the 6 sons of Devaki, and Kalanemi comes as Kamsa. So like that, he kills his own sons one by one. So the Vaishnava Acharyas say that all these 6 sons, they represent the 6 anarthas in our heart. Kama, Krodha, Moha, Lobha, Mada, Matsarya. So unless and until this 6 anarthas are clean, how can Krishna come and reside in our heart? So the Guru comes and cleans the place. So here the Vaishnava Acharyas, they make very nice comparison. They say that Devaki was always afraid of Kamsa, and then how Kamsa killed all her 6 sons. Similarly, the devotees, if they are positively afraid of Maya, they are always living in constant fear of Maya, then all these anarthas are one by one destroyed. And then Sri Guru, brings Krishna into our lives. So this is what happened, and how Balramji appears in this month of Shravan on a Purnima day, Swati Nakshatra. He appears to Rohini Devi. So actually, Balramji initially appears in Devaki's womb, and then Krishna employs Yoga Maya to do all the exchange part. The womb, Baladev from the womb of Devaki is shifted to the womb of Rohini. So he stays for 7 months in Devaki's womb, and then again he's shifted to Rohini's womb. And then just 7 days before Krishna appears, Balram appears in this world. So then Rohini, who is one of the 16 other wives of Vasudev, she is under the care of Nanda Maharaj in Gokul, and there she gives birth to Balaramji. So it is said that when Balaramji appears, he's so beautiful looking, that when Rohini, Mother Rohini takes Balramji in her hand, she's wondering if I'm carrying a baby or am I carrying a basket of flowers or basket of fruits. So beautiful were his eyes and so beautiful were his lips, as if a red color ripe fruit has been cut into pieces. So beautiful were his cheeks like white cotton, and his eyes were so long, going all the way up to the ears, and he had curly hairs and the complexion of an autumn cloud, and very beautiful smile, and Mother Rohini was so happy to see him. So just 7 days difference, both of them, and then Krishna appears to Mother Yashoda, and both of them grow together. So there are a number of pastimes of how both of them had all their childhood milestones together. First time crawling, walking, turning, eating rice, all that they almost did it together. So when they were young, they used to sometimes just crawl inside the Goshala, the cow shed, and then hold the tail of the cow. And the cow used to get afraid, because if you just hold it tail of an animal, definitely it's going to get disturbed. And out of fear, the cow starts running. And now the little babies, Krishna and Balram, they're holding the tails, and they themselves also get very afraid when the animal starts moving. They don't know what to do. They don't want to leave the tail. At the same time, if they hold the tail, they've been dragged all over. And then when they've been dragged like that, all the gopis and all are laughing. So like that, so many pastimes happen of Krishna and Balaram going all around the place of Gokul. And then how sometimes while crawling, they just follow the footsteps of gopis because their anklets are making noise. So they just follow because they think it's their mother. And then as they're crawling and following the gopis, after some time when the gopis bend down to pick them up, and then they see the face of the gopi, then they understand, oh, it's not our mother. And then they start crying loudly. And then the mothers come running to take them in their lap. So like that, so many beautiful pastimes happen in Vraja. So Vallabhacharya, he describes these pastimes and these forms of the Lord, saying that everything about the Lord is so beautiful. He's smiling, he's laughing, he's crying, he's walking, he's crawling. Everything is beautiful. He says, Adharam madhuram nayanam madhuram vadanam madhuram gamanam madhuram chalitam madhuram brahmitam madhuram madhuradipate akhilam madhuram madhuradipate akhilam madhuram, emperor of sweetness, and everything about him is sweet. He's laughing, he's talking, he's walking, he's moving. Everything about him is so sweet. He's the emperor of sweetness. So like that, Krishna and Balaram both look so identical. Just the color of their skins are different, but they're talking and smiling and everything is so very beautiful. So like that, they're getting elder day by day. And then once it so happens that as they get elder, they start taking the cows for grazing. Initially they were Vatsapalaka. Now they get promoted to Gopalaka. Vatsapalaka is they used to simply take the calves in and around the palace of Nanda Maharaj, just nearby areas. But then they get elder, so they say, no, we need promotion and we want to go deep inside the forest, and now we'll take the grown-up cows with us. So then they take the cows and go for, herding the cows in the forest. And then every day when they go with the cows, they kill one or the other demon, one during breakfast, one for lunch, and one as they go back home. So like that, we see many demons were killed by Krishna. And there's some of the important demons that we hear, we read in Srimad Bhagavatam, killed by Balramji is Dhenukasura and Pralambasura. They were killed in Vrindavan when Balram and Krishna were little boys. So it so happens that after the forest fire Leela, where Krishna swallows the forest fire, all the Gopa Balakas, the cowherd boys, they're so tired. So they're all just walking in the forest in search of some water or some nice fruits to quench their thirst. And then the cowherd boys, they tell Krishna that whenever we pass through this forest, such nice aroma comes of the palm fruits, the talavan, the tal fruits, but somehow we can't go inside because there is a asura, there's a demon living here in the form of a donkey, and he doesn't allow anybody to come inside. So then Krishna and Balram said, okay, nothing to worry, we're going to have tala fruits today, let's go inside. So that's how all of them enter inside the Talavan forest. Bhakti Vinod Thakur in his Krishna Samhita says that every demon that Krishna and Balaram killed in Vrindavan actually represent one of the anarthas that are there in our heart. So Bhakti Vinod Thakur says that this Dhenukasura demon, he represents the aspiration for selfish end. He represents the gross material intelligence. He represents the ignorance of spiritual knowledge. And if you put it in Prabhupada's language, Prabhupada said, jackass like foolishness. jackass-like foolishness. So all these anarthas are there in us, and this is represented by Dhenukasur. So when they get inside this Tala forest, Balramji immediately goes and he starts shaking all the Tala trees. And when he starts shaking them, lots of ripe Tala fruits, palm fruits, they start falling down on the ground. And immediately all these cowherd boys, they go and pick it up and they start eating it. And now this donkey, Dhenukasur, was taking rest. He suddenly gets up, oh, what's this all noise, and who is trespassing my land? And then he just comes in, running, and then from far he sees, oh, these cowherd boys are eating my Tala fruits. So immediately he wants to attack Balaramji, because Balaramji was the one who was shaking the trees. So he comes charging, running in full speed, and then he comes and pushes Balaramji. But Balaramji is very strong, so he doesn't even move. And then he tries second time, and then he tries third time, comes running, charging towards Balaramji. And finally Balaramji just, the donkeys, the main strength of the donkeys is in his hind legs. So Balaramji immediately, holds his legs and whirls him round and round and round, and then throws him far off. And then he does it second time. And the second time, when he does it with such force, that finally Dhenukasur is dead. And this time Balaramji whirls his body and throws it far off on the tal tree. And now with the motion, with such a force, his body lands on the tree, that particular tal tree also gets uprooted and falls on another tree. And then that tree falls on another tree, and that tree falls on another tree, and all the trees in the Talavan forest get destroyed, one upon another and one upon another. And then what happens? The other donkey friends of Dhenukasur, when they see what's happened to their friend, they also come attacking. And then all the cowherd boys and Krishna and Balaram are just trying, taking one at a time, and then they killed all the other donkey friends of Dhenukasur. And then that Talavan forest becomes a free place for the Vrajavasis to come and enjoy the Tala fruits. Many years ago I had opportunity to visit this Talavan forest in Vrindavan, but now you don't see any Tala trees there. It's just empty land. There's one Tala tree inside the temple campus. There's a small temple in Talavan, and where all the Leelas, how Krishna and Balaram went inside the Talavan forest, and how Balaram killed Dhenukasur. So these are all pictorial represented, but there's no Tala trees as such. So this is a pastime that happens there. So Dhenukasur actually, in his previous life, actually he's a son of Bali Maharaj. Now we know Prahlad, pure devotee of the Lord, and Prahlad's son's name was Virochan, and Virochan's son's name was Bali, and Bali had a son whose name was Sahashika. And this Sahashika, he was actually once enjoying with 10,000 celestial women in the Gandhamadana mountain. And he was having some water pastimes. And at that time, Durvasa Muni comes there. And he says, I don't mind you enjoying whatever water pastimes, but why are you making so much noise? Can't you understand? There are so many other sadhus who are doing tapasya here. They're trying to meditate on the Supreme Lord, and you are braying like a donkey. Can't you just keep little, keep peace here? Why are you making so much noise? So then he gets upset, Durvasa Muni, and says, you are braying like a donkey. Go become a donkey. So that's how, he's cursed to become a donkey. And that also for how many years? Durvasa Muni says for 4 lakh years. That means 400,000 years. So he just falls down on Durvasa Muni's feet and says, Maharaj, don't do this to me, please have some mercy. And Durvasa Muni says, okay, the mercy is that after living a life of a donkey for 400,000 years, Balramji himself will deliver you. He will kill you. So that was the fortune of Dhenukasur. Though he had to live a life of donkey for many, many years, finally he gets delivered by Balaramji. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur says that Just like this Dhenukasur had this attitude of, it's mine, everything is mine, nobody should take it. Generally, people in this material world have this concept of me and mine. Everything is mine, all these fruits of our hard labor are mine, and I'm not ready to share it with anybody. But when Guru comes in our life, then he teaches us, no, this is for Krishna. Whatever the fruits of your labor or whatever work you're doing, that should be offered to Krishna. And also Bhaktivinoda Thakur makes this point that just like a donkey, actually he doesn't need to carry any weight on his back or serve a master, because what donkey requires is pretty simple. He just requires some grass, and grass is freely available anywhere and everywhere. He can happily eat some grass and enjoy. But he thinks in his mind, unless and until I serve a master, how will I get food to eat? So better I serve a master, then he'll give me some grass to eat. But he doesn't have to give the grass is available. So similarly, the Vaishnava Acharyas say that the mentality of the materialistic people is that unless and until I work hard, I need to work, I need to get this, do that, do this. But they don't understand. They simply surrender to the Supreme Lord, and the Lord will take care of all his needs. So he's unnecessarily overburdening himself without realizing what is his constitutional position. The constitutional position of the soul is to somehow or the other get connected to Krishna and go back home, back to Godhead. But he's unnecessarily wasting his time here in this material world, carrying unnecessary burden without understanding what is his real position and what is his real relationship with the Lord. So we are actually acting like donkeys. And then elsewhere, the Vaishnava Acharyas say that just like the donkey keeps braying unnecessarily, making so much noise, the people in this material world, they're braying like donkeys. If they're not speaking about Krishna, then they are braying like donkeys. When we speak about Krishna, that is speaking. Otherwise, we are simply braying. So like that, so many, so many qualities of donkey we have. Gossiping, talking unnecessarily, taking unnecessary material burden, being ignorant of our constitutional position, and having this attitude of me and mine. So only when a spiritual master comes in our life and gives us a blow like Balramji did to Dhenukasur, we won't be able to come out of this donkey-like, jack-like foolishness. So this is the lesson we learned from this pastime of Dhenukasur. So then the other demon that was killed by Balramji was Pralambasur. Bhaktivinoda Thakur says Pralambasur represents hypocrisy, because Pralambasur comes in a disguise. He doesn't come like a demon. See, at least Dhenukasur was not in disguise. He was as he was. But Pralambasur, he comes like a sweet, innocent, cowherd boy. So he is disguising himself. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur says that he represents hypocrisy, dambha in us. Sometimes we also act to be what we are not. So Pralambasur is representing hypocrisy. He is representing lusty inclinations for personal gain. So then what happens in Pralambasur's pastime? He comes like a little boy, and when these cowherd boys are playing with Krishna and Balram, he gets mixed in the lot. And then there is this special game being played where Krishna and Balram are the team leaders of the opposite side, and the condition of the game is that whoever loses will have to carry whoever wins on their shoulder. So what happens is Krishna's team loses and Balramji's team wins, and this Pralambasur is one of the cowherd boys in Krishna's team. So now he gets an opportunity to carry Balramji on his shoulder, and that is what he was looking for, because he had heard about so many demons getting killed by Krishna. So this time he didn't want to approach directly Krishna. He thought, I'll kill Balaram, and in his separation Krishna will die, because Krishna is so attached to Balaramji. So Pralambasur, he carries Balaram on his shoulder, and that's what the other cowherd boys are doing. Those who have lost the game, they're just carrying the winners. So everybody is going in one direction, and Pralambasur suddenly changes the direction and it carries Balaramji in an opposite direction. And then Balramji is thinking, what is this? What's this happening? Why is this boy taking me somewhere else? And then Balramji realizes, oh, looks like he's a demon. And then Balramji starts increasing his weight. He becomes more heavy and more heavy and more heavy. And when Balramji becomes very heavy, then Pralambasur is not able to keep his disguise anymore, and he just comes to his original form of the demon. And as soon as Balramji sees his original demon form, and then Balramji gives him one kick on his head with his fist, and that's the end of Pralambasur. So such a beautiful lesson we learn from this, that Guru can actually show us the mirror. We may be in disguise, like Pralambasur was in disguise, but the Guru shows us the mirror. What are your anarthas? Where do you lack, and what can you do about it? In front of Guru, we come off to our original form. We can't keep hiding. We are what we are, and then from there, he takes us to the right direction. So like that, both the lusty desires and ignorance is destroyed by the mercy of Shri Guru. So Balramji kills Pralambasur, Dhenukasur, and then Akrura comes. And then both Krishna and Balaram, they go to Mathura. And then of course they go to Sandipani Muni's ashram, and then they fight with Jarasandha 17 times, and then they go to Dwarika, and like that so many pastimes happen. Some pastimes in Vrindavan, some pastimes in Mathura, and some pastimes in Dwarika. And when Balramji and Krishna are all settled in Dwarika, Balaramji, since he is Guru, he's the one who's more merciful than Krishna. He's just thinking about the Vrindavan Vasis, how they are suffering in separation from Krishna. So he decides that I will just go to Vrindavan, stay there for some time, and console the Vrajavasis. So he goes to Vrindavan. He stays there for almost 2 months, and giving his divine association to all the Vrajavasis. So once it so happens that Balramji is enjoying his drink, like Balramji's favorite drink is Varuni. Varuni is the honey which is mixed with a little camphor and little tulasi leaves. It's very tasty, and that's Balramji's favorite drink. So once Balramji is having his favorite drink and all his gopis are around him, and there's so many pastimes happening, and Balramji feels that, oh, I should refresh myself and take bath in Yamuna. So he calls Yamuna, okay, can you come close to me? I want to take bath. And Yamuna ji, seeing the mood of Balramji, is a little apprehensive, and she decides not to come forward. And then Balramji gets very angry, and then he takes his plow and he's ready to cut Yamuna ji into different tributaries. And then Yamuna ji becomes very afraid, and she says, no, please stop, and here I am ready to serve you. So this one pastime happens in Vrindavan after Balramji comes back from Dwaraka. With Jayadev Goswami, in his Dasa Avatara Stotra, he mentions this pastime, how Balramji with his plow had made Yamuna ji afraid. This is a very beautiful verse. He says, Vahasi vapusi vishade vasanam jaladabham halahati bhiti militi yamunabham keshavadrita haladhara rupa Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare. So he says, Vahasi Vapusi Vishade Vasanam. Oh, he's wearing very effulgent clothes, Balramji. Jaladabham. His complexion is like the clouds, white clouds. And halahati bhiti, with his hala, bhiti is fear. He makes Yamuna ji afraid with his hala. Oh, come on, I'm going to cut you into pieces. And Keshavadrita, haladhara rupa. So Jayadev Goswami is saying that to that beautiful form of Balaramji, I pay my humble obeisances. So there's another pastime which happens in Vrindavan, where Balramji is enjoying with his gopis. Krishna has his set of gopis, and Balramji has his set of gopis. So once he's enjoying with his set of gopis, and what happens, a demon called Divida Gorilla comes there, and he's making all sorts of awkward noises and disturbing, and sometimes coming and standing naked in front of the gopis. and then he's jumping from one branch to another, throwing small stones on them and making different kind of noises and disturbing them. And then Balaramji, when he sees that all the gopis are put into awkward situation, he just goes and attacks the Vida gorilla and he kills him. Now, of course, this Dvida Gorilla pastime is also very important for all of us sadhakas because it gives a very important teachings. Because this Dvida Gorilla, just in the Treta Yuga, he was in Lord Ram's army. He was in Lord Ram's army and he fought against Ravana to get Mother Sita back. So he was an amazing devotee and he had rendered service to Lord Ram. But here, the same Dvida Gorilla in the Dwapar Yuga, because he had a long life, here he becomes against Krishna and Balaram. So why is that? Somebody who had served the Lord, how come he becomes against the Lord? So the Acharyas say that it is because of bad association. This Dvida Gorilla had taken the association of Narakasur, and as a result, he got all the bad habits and he went on the other side. So instead of being devotee of Krishna, he was a demon and he had to be killed by Balaramji. And of course, elsewhere I had read that there's another very deep reason behind why this happened. They said that during the war with Ravana, when Lakshmanji fell unconscious and Hanumanji had to go and get the Sanjeevani, the herbs, the medicinal herbs, this Dvida Gorilla who was serving Lord Ram had a thought in his mind. They say that Ram and Lakshman are God. Maybe Ram is God, but is Lakshman also God? Because if he is God, why does he need external help from Hanumanji? Why can't he cure himself? Why is he lying like that? So maybe he's not God. Maybe he's just an ordinary human being So what happened here? Lakshmanji is Guru. So the moment somebody thinks the spiritual master or Guru to be an ordinary person, the countdown begins. The countdown towards the downfall in his spiritual life begins. So this is what happened. Just because he considered Lakshmanji to be an ordinary human being, he was bereft of Vaishnava association and he ended up taking association of Narakasur and he fell further down in his devotional life, and one fine day he came in under the bracket of Asura or the category of Asura. So then finally Balramji kills Dvida Gorilla. Then there's another pastime of Balramji killing Roma Harshana Sutta. So when this all this war is happening in Kurukshetra, Balramji does not want to be part of this war. So he just goes on pilgrimage. So on one such pilgrimage, he goes to Naimisharanya. And there he sees that Roma Harshana Sutta is there with 88,000 sadhus, sages, and they're all surrounded and Bhagavad Katha is going on. And the moment Balaramji enters, everybody gets up out of respect, awe and reverence for Balaramji. But Roma Harshana Sutta, he does not get up from his Vyasasana, he just sits there. So Balramji immediately gets very angry and he takes a piece of grass, just a strand of grass in his hand and touches, Roma Harshana Sutta, and immediately he dies. And the moment he dies, all the sages, the rishis in the Naimisharanya, they're just, making loud noises. Alas, alas, what have you done, Balaramji? We had just blessed him for a long life and he was giving us Krishna Katha, and how come you have killed him? What was his mistake? So then Balramji explains that how a person who is delivering Krishna Katha should also be following it in his life. It's not only about speaking, it's also about showing by realization. Whereas Roma Harshana had no realization because he was speaking about the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but when actually Supreme Personality of Godhead walked inside, he was not ready to offer respect. So a person who has no such realization and is full of arrogance, how can he be the right candidate to speak Krishna Katha? So what's the use of hearing Krishna Katha from such a person? So Balramji wanted to show it to the world by example, because that position of sitting in a Vyasasana, it has to be taken by a person who is actually able, who is actually capable of it. And it's not for anybody who has a good vocabulary or knowledge goes and sits there. They should be connected to Krishna. Just like, we may be having the best Apple phone, but if that Apple phone does not have a SIM card, it will be useless. And we may be having a not so popular phone, maybe some button phone and no touch facility, but if it has a SIM card, it's useful. So somebody may be amazing speaker, but if he himself is not connected to Krishna, if there is no realization, then what's the point? There is no connection, there's no SIM card. It may be looking very good. And then somebody may not be so so good at speaking skills, but if he's connected to Krishna, then he can also connect us to Krishna. So a very beautiful lesson Balramji teaches by killing Romaharshana Sutta. And then the sadhus, they are like, no, what next? What are we supposed to do? We want to hear katha. Then Balramji says, okay, your blessings will not go waste, because son is also a representative of father. So now we will depute Romaharshana's son, Sutta Goswami, to be the leader of all the sages, and he will narrate the katha. And not only that, he says, I'm ready to atone. And Balramji, being the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he says, if you want, I'll bring him back to life. But I just wanted to teach him lesson because it's not correct what he did. So he's supposed to get up and show respect. So they said, no, Balramji, whatever you have done is good, but as a matter of atonement, we just want one help from you. And he says, what is that? He said, every day in the evening, when we are performing this fire sacrifices, there's a particular demon called Balvala. He just comes and throws urine and stool, and he just disturbs our whole fire sacrifice with all contaminated things he throws in our fire sacrifice, and he disturbs it. So kindly kill him. Then Balramji kills Balvala, and that way he serves the sadhus in Naimisharanya. So like that, Balramji was so strict. Balramji was so pakka. He was not lenient. And Guru can't be lenient, says Srila Prabhupada in so many places, because the Guru is lenient and he's not strict. Then how will the disciples improve? So as Adi Guru, he was laying down these examples. Like we see in the case of even Balaramji kills Rukmi, the brother of Rukmini Devi, because they were just playing some dice game, and 2 times Balaramji loses in the beginning, and the 3rd time Balaramji wins. But Rukmi and the other people out there, the king of Kalinga and the other friends of Rukmi, they just make fun of Balaramji and they say, no, you have not won, we have won it. And Balaramji is saying, well, look, I won the game. And he said, no, you have not won it. And when this argument is going on, there's a voice coming, the celestial voice, from the sky, and they say, no, we declare Balramji has won. Still they're not accepting. And then Balramji gets very upset, and then, he takes out his weapon, and then he kills Rukmi. Not only killing Rukmi, even the other kings who were king of Kalinga, he just breaks his teeth, and then he kills other people also who were making all ruckus. They're making lots of noise. And so this is the job of Guru, to correct them, because we see that Rukmi had such a low morality standard. Though he could easily see that he has not won, but he was not guilty about trying to cheat Balramji, and he thought it's okay. So Balramji taught him a lesson. So of course, Balramji is a good mediator also. When this Lord Krishna and Jambavati's son Samba, he goes uninvited to the marriage ceremony, the Swayambara, the ceremony where the girls select her groom. So he just goes uninvited, and there all the kings are there in this big assembly waiting for Lakshmana to select her husband. And this Samba, he goes and simply kidnaps her and runs away. And then all these Kurus, they attack him, and then they imprison him. And when this message goes to Dwaraka, all the Yadus, they get angry. Come on, let us attack Hastinapur. What does Duryodhan think himself? How can he imprison our son? But then Balramji says, no, I will do the mediation. Duryodhan is my very dear disciple. So I'll go and talk to him. So then he goes and then he enters into Hastinapur, but he doesn't enter the palace. He stays outside in a makeshift tent. And then all these Kurus, they come to welcome him. And then he very sweetly tries to negotiate the situation and says, okay, whatever happened has happened. Now let us get them both married. But then Duryodhan does not agree. Actually, Balramji had great hope that Duryodhan would agree, but then they all start making fun of Balramji. They say that, oh, you are talking, how can a goat take away the lion's share? Okay, where the Yadus are and where are we Kurus? There is no match and will not give our daughter to your son. Then Balramji gets very upset. After these people leave his tent and go back to the palace, and they're all making merry. We did good thing, we showed Balramji his position. They're all talking. Meanwhile, Balramji simply takes his plow and he starts dragging the whole city of Hastinapur. And for him, it's so simple. It's just dragging it as if, dragging some toy train. And he was ready to put the whole Hastinapur city inside Yamuna. He's just dragging it. And these people who are inside the palace, they're like, what is this? There's an earthquake. Everything is moving. And then immediately they understand Balramji is doing this, and they just jump and run and they fall on Balramji's feet and say, okay, we are very sorry, and here is Lakshmana and Samba, and let's do the marriage. So then they have a grand marriage and they give lots of dowry, lots of gifts to Samba, and that's how Balramji comes back with Samba and Lakshmana. So many such pastimes. And then there is how Balramji gets married to Revati. How there was this one king called Revaka in Satyuga, and he had this amazing daughter who was so full of good qualities, very beautiful and very good natured. So he was just wondering, who is an capable guy, whom should I give my daughter in marriage? So he could not find a proper groom, so he goes to Brahmaji. And those days in Satyuga it was pretty easy, they could go up and down. He just goes to Brahmaji, and then Brahmaji is busy in something, and then after that when he comes out of the meeting, he says, what brings you here? So, well, I'm just looking for a proper groom for my daughter. And Brahmaji says, well, you spent some time here, that means in the planet Earth, so many yugas must have already passed. So now Dwapar Yuga is going on, and what I see now in this Dwapar Yuga, the most capable groom for your daughter would be Balaramji. So you go and give your daughter to Balaramji in marriage. Now the thing is that these people were from Krita Yuga, so they were all like 40-50 feet height. They are from different yuga. And when they come and meet Balramji, they see Balramji is maybe 14 feet or, 16 feet or something like that. And they don't know what to do. And then Balramji says, okay, I'll sort it out. So Balramji just expands his plow, and then he drags Revati down, to his own height. And then that's how Balramji then gets married to Revati. So like that, so many different pastimes of Balramji we hear from different Vaishnava acharyas. So Balramji is a very, very amazing personality. And that is, he's called Balaram. Balramji, because Bala, he gives Bala, he gives spiritual strength. He gives spiritual strength to the devotees to continue their vows. He gives spiritual strength to devotees to move forward in their spiritual journey. And not only does he give spiritual energy, he also gives spiritual bliss. So Bala Ram, it's a mixture of two words. So Bala is strength and Ram is Ananda, or taste for Krishna consciousness, which is so important because maybe by the strength of Balaramji, by the strength of the Lord, we may be able to say no to Maya, but we should also be able to say yes to Krishna. And sometimes it is difficult because if there is no taste, how will you continue your Krishna consciousness? So Balaramji does both the job. Not only does he give us strength to say no to Maya, he also gives us taste in Krishna consciousness so that we can say yes to Krishna. So this combination. See, because unless and until we get pleasure in something, we cannot do it for a long time. Just because somebody asks us to chant, how long can we chant? Just because somebody asks us, okay, please hear Bhagavatam class, how long can we hear? Unless and until we get something out of it. So who will give us this something? This spiritual bliss is given by Balaramji. If he doesn't give us this spiritual bliss, we'll be so dry and high, and we wouldn't want to do. Maybe we will stop doing sinful activities, but what about attraction towards doing some devotional activity? That attraction or that bliss is given by Balaramji. So he holds the devotee. He does not allow the devotee to go back, in Krishna consciousness. When somebody takes shelter of Balaramji, Balaramji holds us. He makes sure we keep taking a step forward and a step forward and a step forward towards Krishna. I'm just reminded of one beautiful pastime. One of the Prabhupada disciples, Hayagriva Prabhu, he helped Prabhupada so much in the initial days, but after some time he left ISKCON. And then when he left ISKCON, and he had all this beard and mustache grown, and he was out from Krishna conscious life for few years. And then by Balaramji's mercy, he was not able to give up, and he wanted to come back. He was just reminded of his old memories with Srila Prabhupada, and he wanted to come back. And one fine day he came back to the temple. So he's all grown up beard and mustache, and nobody could recognize him. So he says he wanted to meet Prabhupada. So Prabhupada's secretary said, "So who are you?" So he says, "Just tell Prabhupada it is his old Hayagriva. His old Hayagriva has come to see him." And then the secretary says, "Well, somebody called Hayagriva wants to see you." And Prabhupada said, "Hayagriva, oh, please call him inside." And then when he comes inside, he puts a Shakshat Dandavat Pranam to Srila Prabhupada, and then he crawls just like a baby on his 4 legs and comes next to Prabhupada and puts his head on Prabhupada's lap, and he starts crying and crying and crying like a baby. And Prabhupada is stroking his head, and Prabhupada is also crying, And then Hayagriva, Prabhu lifts his head and he says, "Prabhupada, I left you, but believe me, Prabhupada, I could not forget you even for one day. I've been remembering you all the time." And then Prabhupada also crying, and Prabhupada said, "Even I have not forgotten you. Even I have been remembering you." And then, of course, I'm just cutting a long story short. And then again, he comes back to Krishna consciousness. So who does this? This is Balaramji. He will somehow make sure, he'll haunt us with this bliss of Krishna, and he'll again bring us back. And every time we're trying to run towards Maya, and he just brings us back to Krishna. So Balaram, he gives us a spiritual strength, and also gives us spiritual taste, because without taste we may have strength, but we can't continue unless and until we get a taste. So he's called Balaram. He's called Balabhadra. Balabhadra means one who brings all auspiciousness in our life. The moment he enters our life, all the inauspiciousness goes away. He's called Baladev because he gives us spiritual intelligence. If there is the whole problem is senses. The senses can be controlled by mind, and the mind can be controlled by intelligence. And intelligence is given by Balaramji. The moment Balaramji gives us intelligence, takes away all our ignorance, then we can easily control our mind, and mind can control our senses, and senses can be employed in Krishna's service, and that's how our life will become blissful. So Balaram, Baladev, Balabhadra is called Rohini Nandan, is called Shankarsana, because he got attracted to another womb. From Devaki's womb, he went to another womb of Rohini Matas. He's also called Shankarshana. He's called Ananta because limitless. His service is limitless. There is no boundary. Balramji is always eager to offer service to Krishna. He's also called Haladhara. Haladhara because he's always holding the hala, the plow. There are 2 weapons of Balramji is always having. One is the mace, the gada, mace, and one is the hala. And with this 2 things, he helps the devotees. So just like the farmers, they use the plow to make a land proper, ready, the land ready for doing agriculture, because you have to make the land nice, and then you can sow the seeds and nice plants or trees will come out. So similarly with his hala, with his plow, he plows our heart and removes all the weeds. removes all the anarthas, and then our heart becomes a conducive place to sow the seeds of Krishna Prem. And then the Bhakti Lata creeper will come out so nicely. And then with the help of the mace, Balramji removes all the obstacles in our life which are disturbing in our Krishna conscious life. So he is a Haladhara. With his hala, he makes us our heart a proper place for Krishna to enter. I'm reminded of this one pastime where one devotee made some puris for Srila Prabhupada. So Prabhupada was just holding the puri, and Prabhupada said, "Is this puri?" Because it was flat. It was not, it was not blown up, and like how the puris are supposed to be. So he said, "What is this?" So the disciple said, "Prabhupada, this is puri." The Prabhupada said, "Why is this puri like this?" Then the disciple said, "But Prabhupada, the atta is not good. The flour is not good. That's why the puri has come out like this." And then Prabhupada says, "Okay." So he doesn't say anything. After eating, he washes his hand and says, "Let's go to the kitchen." And with the same atta, Prabhupada also rolls a puri, and then he fries it in the in the ghee, and then the puri comes out very nicely, nicely blown out, nicely puffed up. And then Prabhupada shows this puri to his disciple, and he says that, "I know how to make good puris, and I also know how to make good devotees, and I can make good puris even with the bad atta, and you may be a bad atta, but I know how to make you good devotees." So that's the job of the guru, to make the devotee, to make the disciple's heart a proper place for Krishna to reside. So he does the cleaning part. That's what Balaramji does. We may not be capable, we may not have that ability, but he makes us, when we take his shelter, then he makes us, gives us that ability to serve Krishna. And because that's what he wants to do. He just wants to serve Krishna, and he wants to connect others in serving Krishna. Because otherwise you just see Yashoda serves Krishna in Vatsalya Bhava, in parental affection. Gopis, they serve in conjugal bhava, in Madhurya Rasa. And you see the Gopa Balakas, the cowherd boys, they serve Krishna in friendship, Sakhya Bhava. But you see Balaramji is the only personality who serves Krishna in all the bhavas. As a friend also, in Sakhya, Madhurya, Vatsalya, Shanta, in all the bhavas, Balaramji is serving Krishna. We see that Balaramji is sometimes a Sakha, a friend to Krishna, teasing Krishna, pulling his leg, pinching him, making fun of him, and giving him that Sakhya Rasa. We know this famous bhajan of Surdas, where he's explaining this particular pastime, where Krishna comes home one day all crying, and Yashoda Mata is asking him what happened, and he says, "Mother, you know what Balaram did today? He was telling me in front of everybody that Yashoda is fair complexion and Nanda Maharaj is fair complexion, and how come you are black? So looks like you're not their son. Probably they just purchased you from the market." Just imagine how I must have felt insulted in front of everybody. Is it true? Am I not your son? And then Yashoda is like, no, who said that? No, Balaram is saying that. And mother, if you would have said that to me in private, we could have sorted out. But he said it in front of everybody, and everybody heard it. So Yashoda Mata is like, no, you are my son. And then Krishna asks, "But then why am I black?" And then Yashoda is saying, "But no, you are black because you were born in the black night, midnight. That's why you got the color black." And then Yashoda Mata says, no, but actually, you are drinking the milk of the black cow. That is why you are black. So like that, Yashoda Mata is trying to, appease him and trying to console him. So like that, Balram is giving all rasa, by teasing him. So Sakhya Rasa. And then Balram also is, giving a service to him by Madhurya Rasa, because Balram expands himself as Ananga Manjari. who is the younger sister of Radha Rani, and she helps in the conjugal pastimes of Radha and Krishna. When they meet together, Ananga Manjari's job is to make sure nobody disturbs when Radha and Krishna are together. She will make sure that which monkey is making noise, or hope some monkey is not disturbing by jumping from this branch to another. She'll just make sure all those things happen. So like that, in the Madhurya Bhava also, Ananga Manjari is serving Krishna. So Balram is serving in Madhurya Bhav, Balram is serving in Sakhya Bhav, Balram is also serving in Vatsalya Bhav. Balram is so protective of Krishna as the elder brother, always taking care of him with motherly affection. And Krishna also very affectionately calls Balaramji Dauji. In fact, not only Krishna, the whole Vraja calls Dauji. Even of today, you go to Vrindavan, you don't ask anybody, where is Balaramji temple? You say, where is Dauji temple? They'll say, okay, yeah, here's Dauji. He's Dauji for everybody, elder brother for everybody. In fact, everywhere in Vraja, you hear this very popular bhajan, Dauji ka bhaiya, Krishna Kanhaiya, Krishna Kanhaiya, Dauji ka bhaiya. They sing it so beautifully and loudly. Who is Dauji's little brother? Oh, it's Krishna. Oh, who is Krishna? Oh, he is Dauji's little brother. So that's how they talk about Krishna and Balaram. So in Vatsalya Bhava also, he's so protective about Krishna. In fact, all that Leelas, where Krishna gets, in fight with Kaliya, and then the Brahma Vimohan Leela and the Damodar Leela where Krishna gets tied. All this happens on the day Balaram is not with Krishna. Because when he is with Krishna, he won't allow Krishna to go inside Yamuna. He won't allow Krishna to go inside deep in the water. But on these days was Balaram Jayanti, in Balaramji's birthday. That's the only day when he is away from Krishna, because Rohini Mata insists that today is your birthday, so you stay home. So she makes him take bath with the sacred water, and then anoint him with ointments and black kajal, and then decorate him, and then perform some ceremonies, and then give charity to Brahmins, and then take him to some relative's house, feed him nicely. So many such ceremonies happen on the day of birthday. Do some go puja. So those days Balaram is not going with Krishna, and Krishna is on his own with the other cowherd boys, and he lands into some of the other trouble. But when Balaramji is there, he's so protective. In fact, when they go for herding the cows, Balaramji is always walking in the front, because Krishna is walking in leisure, looking at the gopis, sometimes with the cows, talking with his friends. But what Balaramji does is he goes deep inside the forest, and then with his plow he makes a way for Krishna, just checking everything is okay. And then he's just with the plow he's making marks on the floor, on the forest, and there Krishna knows, okay, this is the way we have to take, because Balaramji is already gone front. And then of course there's so many such pastimes where Balaramji shows his protection. Like there's sometimes the clouds, they even now today, of course now the cities are so polluted, I don't know if you can even see the clouds, but if you just look at the way sometimes the formation looks like somebody's nose, looks like some kind of a form of tiger or lion. So sometimes the clouds, they look so fearful. Then Balramji and the other cowherd boys, they used to go running uphill Giriraj, Govardhan, and with their herding sticks, behave as if they're holding some sword, and they'd start fighting with the clouds, and they're telling Krishna, don't worry Krishna, this is not a lion, don't worry, it's looking like that, but it's not a lion, and if it is so, I'm there, I'll protect you. So like that, Balaramji is always taking care of Krishna in Vatsalya Bhav. So Vatsalya Bhav, Madhurya Bhav, in the Sakhya Bhav, and even in the Shanta Bhav, Shanta Rasa, how Balaramji is rendering service to Krishna. He's expanding himself as the Dham, the Mayapur Dham, Vrindavan Dham, Dwarka Dham, all these Ayodhya Dham, these are all expansions of Balaramji. That means when we go to Dham, what we are actually doing is we are walking on Balaramji's head. That's why we have to be so careful when we go on pilgrimage, especially to these holy Dhams. That's why they say that going to Dham is like it's like walking on a sharp sword. It's smooth, but it may cut you anytime, because you chant one round in Dham, it's like chanting 1,000 rounds, but you make one mistake in Dham, it's like making 1,000 mistakes. So one has to be so careful that when they go to Dham, they don't have material aspirations or material desires for sense gratification. and they're pretty serious for what they have come for, because otherwise Balramji will get upset, because he's just bearing our burden on his head with the only motive that we are getting connected to Krishna. And if we're not doing that, then it definitely is not going to like it. And not only that, because Balramji is Dham, what way he renders service to Krishna is, when the demons come to attack Krishna, Balramji expands the Dham, makes it more larger and more larger, and the demon keeps running, but he's not able to touch Krishna. And when Krishna is hungry and is remembering Mother Yashoda, then Balramji contracts the Dham and makes it so smaller that 2 steps Krishna takes and he's back home in Mother Yashoda's lap. So he keeps on contracting and expanding the Dham. So like that he renders service to Krishna. And not only that, Balramji is expansion of Dham everywhere. Dham in the sense, not only Mayapur, Vrindavan. Wherever Krishna is being worshipped, like all the ISKCON temples, these are also Dham. And only with Balramji's mercy can we have a temple. I'm reminded of this past time, how when in the initial days we had trouble of getting land in Mayapur, Srila Prabhupada had told his devotees, why not you worship Balaramji? Unless and until Balaramji shows his mercy, you can't get land for making temple for Krishna, because Balaramji is the one who expands as Dham. And then lo and behold, devotees did worship, and within 3.5 weeks, the whole matter was sorted out. And Baladevji actually came in that dream also, and he said, yeah, I'll sort it out, don't worry. And that's how they got the Mayapur land. Some issue was there. So like that, even all these musical instruments that we play in the temple, whether it's harmonium, kartal, mridang, this is all Balramji. That's why we're so respectful to the musical instruments. We can't touch them with our legs or something. These are all expansions of Balaramji. Like that, we see that Balaramji in the Vatsalya rasa, he worships, he serves Krishna. How he's the one actually who complains to Mother Yashoda that Krishna is taking mud. And then Mother Yashoda calls Krishna and says, are you taking, mud? Open your mouth, I want to see. And then she sees all the universes. And then she shares it with Nanda Maharaj that, I saw all these universes in Krishna's mouth. And Balramji is standing behind the tree and hearing this, and he thinks, oh really, is it? And then he goes back to Krishna and says, can you open your mouth, I want to see. And when Balramji asks Krishna to open his mouth, what Balramji sees is all full of mud. And then he goes back and says to Mother Yashoda, say, Mother, you were saying to Baba, to Nanda Maharaj, that you saw universes in Krishna's mouth, but I just went just now and asked him to open his mouth. There's nothing but mud. That naughty fellow is simply eating mud. Please help him. So like that, he's always trying to protect Krishna. So in the Vatsalya Bhava, in the Sakya Bhava, Madhurya Bhava, in the Dasya Bhava, Balramji, that's a famous picture which we see in so many ISKCON temples, where Krishna is lying in the forest of Vrindavan and Balramji is massaging his legs. So like that, in the Dasya Bhava also, he's serving Krishna. In fact, one of the pujaris of Mayapur was sharing one very interesting pastime. It's a real, it's a real thing that happened very recently. How he was once painting the Rajapur Jagannath. We have this temple very close to Mayapur Dham. He was painting this Jagannath deities. And that day evening, there was some program of one of the sannyasis, Disappearance Day. So he left the painting halfway and he went for that Disappearance Festival, because that was also important. And what happened in the night, Baladev came in his dream and he was, giving him Mahaprasad, by slapping his cheeks and says, how dare you leave my brother half painted like that, Why did you leave and go, How is he looking? Why didn't you complete it? And then next day, the pujari was so worried and he made sure that he finished the painting of Jagannath. So, that's the bhava of Balaram. He himself is, very perfect in serving Krishna, and he wants everybody should be serving Krishna very nicely. In fact, when Balaramji comes like Lakshman, he had many complaints with Lord Ram, because Lord Ram asked him to, leave Sita Mata in the forest when she was pregnant, in Valmiki Muni's ashram. And he could not complain because he was a younger brother and he simply had to follow whatever Ramji says. And then also there were times when he asked to organize the Agni Pariksha the fire test of Sita, and then he was so helpless. So like that, many times he felt, oh, I'm so helpless, because I've come as a younger brother. I want to serve, but Ramji does not allow me. I have to listen to his instructions. Like especially when Parshuram fights with Lord Ram, why did you break the Shiva Dhanush? And he's very eager to answer back, but Lord Ram is controlling him. So he's always thinking in his mind that I want to protect Lord Ram, I want to serve him, but just because I came as a younger brother, I'm not getting this opportunity. Next time I'll come as an elder brother. So then he comes as elder brother in Dwapar Yuga as Balaram, and this time when he wants to serve Krishna, Krishna is sometimes stopping him from serving, saying that, oh, you are my elder brother, how can you render me service? I will render you service. So then Balaramji is thinking, if I come as a younger brother, it's a problem. If I come as an elder brother, it's a problem. Next time I don't come as a brother, no family relations. So he comes as Nityananda. So there is no such family ties, and then he can, serve Krishna as he wants. So we see in the form of Balaram, he was like Avadhuta. No such restrictions on him, and he did whatever he wanted to do. He even broke the sannyasa danda of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and he did whatever way he wanted to serve Lord Shri Krishna to the fullest of his heart's, whatever, to satisfied his heart by serving in the way he wanted to serve. So like that, how can we serve Balaramji? We spoke about how Balaramji served Krishna. So how can we serve Balaramji? When we serve our spiritual masters who are representative of Balaramji, when we serve our respective gurus, Siksha gurus or Diksha gurus, and when we take their instructions as our life and soul, then that is one way we can please Balaramji, because they are representing Sri Balaram. So when we serve them, we are serving Balaramji. So we discussed many leelas, and I think it's time to stop. And of course, there are so many such beautiful leelas. I've tried to tell them, in very short and very briefly. I have described these leelas, but we really want to relish it. You have to dive into Krishna book, and or you have to dive into the 10th canto and to hear all these nectarian pastimes in more details. So of course, all these scriptures are like those ripe mango fruits hanging in the tree, and of course we are all like those ants, and these mango fruits are not accessible to us. But if a parrot comes and puts its beak inside this ripe fruit, then some juice may fall on the ground. So Sukadeva Goswami is like that parrot, and even though the rasa has fallen on the ground, it is still inaccessible to us because it's in Sanskrit or Bengali, which we may not be able to understand. But Krishna Kripamurti, Abhay Charnaravinda Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada has come into our lives, translated into so many languages and made accessible to us. And this is his 125th birth anniversary. So some thought on this is that if we want to please him for what he has done to us, if we want to show our gratitude to him, maybe we should dive deep into these books which he has written day and night, sacrificing his sleep for all of us to relish and apply in our lives. And also not only reading it ourselves, maybe distributing it to others would be one beautiful way of expressing our gratitude to Srila Prabhupada. And on this very auspicious and beautiful day of Sri Balaram Jayanti, I pray on behalf of all of us from the core of my heart to Sri Balaramji, that he gives us strength to say yes to Krishna, no to Maya, and with the help of his plow and mace, he removes all the obstacles in our spiritual life and removes all the anarthas from our heart, and deputes us all in devotional service in a way that pleases Guru and Krishna. With this, I'll end it here. Balaram Jayanti Maha Mahotsav ki jai, Krishna Balaram ki jai, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Krishna Krishna
कृष्णा लगे, सब कृष्णा 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 लगे, सब कृष्णा 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 लगे, सब कृष्णा